Every single reviewer who probably got cherry-picked QC units noted that the thumb buttons were crisp, sharp, and distinctively better than the V2 Pro. So I went and bought my own Razer Viper V3 Pro to test it, and I got a bad QC unit just right off the bat. My thumb buttons on my V3 Pro are mushy. You really can't feel the actuation distinctively. And to make things worse, the clicks have a good noticeable amount of pre-travel. So much so that I would actually prefer the clicks on my 2-year-old beat up Razer Viper V2 Pro over this. And in my opinion, this is not really acceptable for a brand as big as Razer, who's charging $150 USD for what they are claiming to be a top of the line, best of the best gaming mouse. And speaking of things that aren't acceptable for such an expensive gaming mouse, these plastic molding marks on the shell itself look cheap, horrid, tacky, and really isn't befitting of a mouse that's trying to claim to be the top of the line premium stuff. But the thing is, that wouldn't be so frustrating, disappointing, or annoying for me if the Viper V3 Pro wasn't such a damn good gaming mouse. There's a reason why so many pros in Valorant and Counter-Strike have started to switch to the V3 Pro. In the last VCT split, I noticed at least 10, 15, if not 20 plus professional esports gamers in Valorant switching to the V3 Pro, and a lot of these V3 Pro users weren't V2 Pro users beforehand. They came from Vexys, they came from Zowies, they came from Logitech G Pro Superlights, which really means that what Razer has done with the V3 Pro has resonated and managed to steal market share from its competitors, which Razer definitely should be happy about. And within a few hours of use, I realized the V3 Pro was going to be a great fit for me, and it quickly became my daily driver, which is why all these QC issues that I got is so frustrating. This could have been my perfect gaming mouse for the next 6 months or a year, but it isn't, because I decided to support Razer early, buy an early unit, and get a little screwed over with a less than perfect unit. If you want to avoid these issues and you're buying a V3 Pro with your own hard-earned money, I personally would just recommend waiting a couple of weeks, if not a month or two, to buy a later batch. Razer does have a track record of improving QC throughout the lifespan of the gaming mouse, so the later batches tend to have less issues than the first batch, but it's still frustrating for me as an actual buyer. So what are the changes over the V2 Pro, and will you like it? Well, I think not everyone's going to like these changes. If you think the older Vipers are perfect, you might want to avoid the V3 Pro because it's quite a radical change. While it retains the low click height and the overall kind of slightly V-shaped aesthetic of the Viper, you have flatter sides, a longer mouse, and most importantly, a significantly higher hump that's moved ever so slightly backwards in the Viper. What this results in is a Viper V3 Pro that has some of the characteristics we recognized from Vipers in the past, but it's been elevated in ways to better suit the claw grip gaming audience that it really always wanted to target, especially because that audience makes up a huge chunk of the gaming mouse industry, as proven by the G Pro Superlight's continued success with claw grip gamers. And it's pretty obvious what Razer is doing here. From Razer's side of things, this is a great business move. It makes the mouse more appealing to the mainstream. And I think they've done a really great job here. When I hold this mouse, it feels like what a prototypical claw grip mouse should feel like. Low click height, but great palm support and contact with great wrist support. The flatter sides are a lot easier to hold on to, but they still have some semblance of grooves and curves that still allow you to find a comfortable area to grip with your thumb, forefinger, and pinky. And all in all, it just feels very stable, very locked in, and very comfortable. Kind of like a merge between my favorite parts of the Viper V2 Pro and the G Pro Superlight, resulting in what I think is one of the best medium, if not large size claw grip mice right now. And this is further enhanced by the significantly better coating on the V3 Pro that is super duper grippy that you really don't need grip tape for. Now apparently there is a different coating between the white version and the black version, with the black version kind of having a like rubberized finish like the Def Feather V3 Pro Faker Edition, but the white version is absolutely amazing to me, so I would probably recommend getting that. It's not like rubberized in any way, it's just grippy plastic, and that's my favorite. It's not quite as good as the OP1WE yet, but I would say it's getting there. Now, I'm not going to talk about the thumb buttons and the clicks because I've already ranted about them. I do have new optical switches as well though, but the scroll wheel is a significantly better, crisper, sharper, and than the Viper V2 Pro. The bottom of the mouse features much bigger mice feet, which is a much needed improvement over the older Vipers, meaning more stability on the mousepad as you track. Really like that. And the internals, well, they have some significant spec bumps. Most notably, it has this ability to run at 8000 Hz wireless polling rate, which is pretty impressive. It also has a new Razer Focus Pro 2 sensor, but the last sensor was already good enough, so this is just more of the same. 8000 Hz polling rate though is interesting and has only been seen on 2 or 3 other gaming mice like the ULX and the Viper Mini Signature Edition, which then leads me to the question, can you even notice the difference between 1K Hz and 8K Hz? Well, I did an A/B blind test, and between 1000 Hz and 8000 Hz, I got it right 95% of the time. You know, I'm on a 540 Hz gaming monitor with a PC capable of running AimLab and Valorant at above 500-600 FPS consistently. I also then did an A/B test between 1000 Hz and 4000 Hz on the same setup, and I could get it right 90% of the time, which kind of indicates to you that 1000 and 4000 and 1000 8000 Hz are noticeable if you have the right display. And it does make sense, since 1000 Hz is only 2 times faster than a 500 Hz gaming monitor, so the difference should be pretty apparent on such a fast gaming monitor. However, that leads to the next question. Can you actually tell the difference between 4K Hz and 8K Hz? Well, I don't really think so. In the blind test between 4K Hz and 8K Hz, I got it right 60% of the time, which is only 10% more than 50-50 random odds. Which kind of tells me that I'm not really able to notice the difference between 8K and 4K, which makes sense since the higher polling rate you go, the more diminishing returns you get. And until we get 1000 Hz, 2000 Hz gaming monitors, I don't think the difference between 4K Hz and 8K Hz gaming mice will be all that noticeable. To note, for the blind test, I did it in aim-labs with tracking and micro flick exercises because I always found that to be the easiest to spot the difference between low and high polling rate. In large general flicks, I actually find 1000 Hz to be perfectly adequate even on 500 Hz gaming monitors. But the moment I start tracking or micro adjusting, 1000 Hz just doesn't feel like it cuts it anymore on a 500 Hz gaming monitor. As for battery life, 8000 Hz is obviously the worst, with 1000 Hz being the best. But the thing is, in my test, 8000 Hz is still fine. You can use your gaming mouse for about 25 plus hours on 8K Hz, which I think is adequate. It's about a week's worth of light usage or about 3 days of heavy gaming sessions. Also, the Viper V3 Pro has really fast charging, first seen in the Viper Mini Signature Edition. And this really compensates for the lower battery life from 8000 Hz polling rate. As for build quality, apart from the ugly plastic molding marks, it's excellent. There's no creaks or rattles or weird sounds from it. And it feels really sturdy, even though it's 4 grams lighter at 54 grams than its predecessor, but bigger. Its weight balance is also really good. It doesn't tip forward or backward when I pick it up like this. So, should you buy the Razer Viper V3 Pro? I think this is easily the best, if not one of the best, claw grip gaming mice for medium to large hand sizes that are, 18 to 21 centimeter long right now. This has better specs and better performance than its main competitor, the G Pro Superlight 2. And it's also targeting a similar hand size and grip style to the average G Pro Superlight user. But shape-wise, I just think it does it straight up better than the G Pro Superlight. Whereas the G Pro Superlight was designed to be a general do-it-all mouse to capture the whole market with one single product, which it did when it first came out, the V3 Pro is definitely much more focused, much more specialized, and as a result, a better fit for any claw grip gamer. The G Pro Superlight might be much better than the V3 Pro for fingertip grips and palm grips and weird grips and tilt claw grips, but if you are a claw grip FPS gamer on the G Pro Superlight or a mouse of a similar shape, you should just get a Viper V3 Pro for your next gaming mouse. And with that, thanks for watching, like and subscribe. Now, if you're based in Singapore, do consider buying your next tech purchase on thetechyard.com. It's a project that is my day job, and it's full of me and my teammates' blood, sweat and tears, and I would really love to see it succeed. It's not perfect, but we're trying our best to change up the tech shopping scene in Singapore, to make it more exciting, more transparent, more convenient, and more practical, instead of the stagnant, stale, boring, old-fashioned, antiquated way tech sales are being done in our country, which I think is horrible. And I would really appreciate if you showed your support in any way. Even if it just means that you're browsing the site and leaving a comment down below so I know how to improve my product. Or even better, buying a product on there, because our prices are really competitive and we deliver to your house. So you don't have to head down to a shopping mall to buy it.